Look, I don't care if officials don't think it's serious. I think it's serious. Why do I think it's serious? Because if you get a cut on your foot and we talking about it on our show, that means there's a problem. Why? Because CeeDee Lamb should afford to miss a practice, should be able to afford to miss a practice, and America not take note because the Cowboys are that deep at the position. But the second Cowboys receiver, James Washington, went down with an injury, we all held our breath. The second Michael Gallup said, you know what, I'm not going to be ready week one, more than likely, we all held our breath. Now CeeDee Lamb gonna cut his foot, and we still holding our breath. Cowboys are holding on by a thread to this wide receiver position, and it's a huge deal in my mind. The Cowboys don't have the luxury of taking any injuries. CeeDee Lamb last season was insurance. You had Amari Cooper. You knew Amari Cooper was probably going to get busy if CeeDee Lamb didn't get busy. He was insurance. Now CeeDee Lamb is the greatest of necessities in the National Football League at the wide receiver position because there is no one else. Is there no one else? Shout out to the Gladiator. There is no one else. And as I look at it, it's a huge deal because the Cowboys can't afford this. Joy, where you at?
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. I think what you said is absolutely right. They can't afford any more injuries. They have no depth, particularly at the high end, at the top. Last year, there was a luxury. You had Amari Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb was essentially the number one receiver without getting paid as such, without the title, without the pressure. Well, now if you don't have CeeDee Lamb, who are you throwing to? I'm like, I don't. Noah Brown.
Find no names down there.
Okay, like I don't.
Ain't no names.
Like I don't know. I don't know. It's a very, very bad situation. Now, obviously, they're saying he will be back, and it's not that serious. But you don't want. It's a thin ice situation with the Cowboys. You do not want anyone, particularly CeeDee Lamb, going into the regular season anything less than as good as you can be coming out of training camp. Obviously, nobody is 100% at any point in this league. But this is not something you should feel comfortable with if you're a Cowboys fan.
I so want to be the voice here to say, would you guys stop it? It's a cut. It's a couple stitches. It's no big deal. But here's the problem. You said that they don't have the luxury of losing anymore. They also don't have the luxury of being circumspect when it comes to an injury. Because I saw this, nothing serious, nothing to see here, and I immediately thought of Dak Prescott's shoulder when he came back and his throwing arm, and he got sore. And it was no big deal, but then he's missing week after week of training camp. And then we think that there were repercussions from that, and as a result, he had the calf strain during the season, and that compromised the second half of his season. So when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys and it comes to injuries, I'm sorry, am I being too much of a reporter to say, okay, where was the cut? How did he get the cut? How many stitches? Can I have an idea of exactly what we're dealing with? And for the Dallas Cowboys, look, I need a little bit more because you haven't always been forthcoming and you haven't always been accurate in your accounting of injuries. So please explain to me that there's nothing here, that there's no big deal.
Slick, imagine how nervous you are right now if you're Dak Prescott. Think about that for a second. That's what nobody's talking about. If you're Dak Prescott, you realize every time a receiver goes down, that's 5, 6 less touchdowns for you on the season. James Washington goes down. You're like, it's all good. I still got Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup, you said you're not going to be back week one? Okay, I still got CeeDee. Wait, CeeDee, you got hurt? You got cut? What do you mean you got cut? Like, I was thinking about this morning. If I'm Dak Prescott, I don't even want to see CeeDee Lamb take the shortcut to the locker room through the training room. I don't ever want to see CeeDee in the training room. And for y'all that never been in NFL facilities, you can go to the locker room one of two ways. You can take the long route or you can cut through the training room typically. I don't ever want to see you, CeeDee Lamb, in the training room. Joy, if you're Dak, how are you feeling right now?
Well, I'm sure he doesn't feel great at all. To everything we just discussed, CeeDee Lamb is the guy. That's his number one target. 120 targets last season, 79 receptions, over 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. And he's going to have to step up that production this year. So, of course, especially as a quarterback, you don't want any of your skill positions going into the season with any kind of issues like that. I'm sure Dak's nervous. Now, you could spin a positive and say that this is a year that Dak could show that he's really the guy because he's not working with 100% when it comes to his skill positions, and particularly at the wide receiver, which I see a lot of undrafted free agents listed on this on this list on the depth chart. So, yeah, I think he feels very nervous, not because, his numbers are going to go down. I think Dak is somebody who wants to win, and CeeDee is going to help them be able to do that.
I think Dak should be the one out there saying, look, it's only a small cut. It was only 2 stitches. It's okay. Like, he should be the one giving us the information.
I do understand the Cowboys, and particularly the Cowboys, downplaying an injury. Most teams are not going to set out with the panic unless it's, okay, torn ACL, torn Achilles, out for the season. There's no need to kind of bubble wrap this. But you always want to downplay injuries.
I get that. But this is a different type of injury, right? With a cut. I mean, if we're talking about a sprain, we're talking about a ligament issue, we're talking about a broken bone. This sounds like an accidental injury. Doesn't sound like something that necessarily happened on the field.
What's fascinating to me, I don't think this injury is a big deal, right? Like, it's a cut. I've seen Thomas Davis play the Super Bowl against the Broncos, Super Bowl 50, with 15 stitches in his forearm because he had an entirely broken forearm. The injury itself isn't a big deal. It's the implication of CeeDee's absence when he gets injured that's a big deal.
Yeah.
The Cowboys lost 2 winnable games last year. Las Vegas Raiders, Kansas City Chiefs, because Amari Cooper was down with COVID. Keep in mind, CeeDee Lamb left half of one of those games with a concussion. So the Cowboys fans know all too well what it means if a star receiver goes down. But now I'm going to level with y'all from the NFL perspective. The reason it's a huge deal for the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys offense strikes no fear in the minds of defensive coordinators. I vividly remember calling Jordan Hicks, former linebacker for the Eagles, Super Bowl champion in 2016, Ezekiel Elliott's rookie season. I was my first year out the league. I said, bro, how in the world are you dealing with Zeke? He said, the dude is fast enough to run away from you and strong enough to run over you. Like, I was scared of Ezekiel Elliott his rookie year. Y'all remember the screen against Joy Taylor's Pittsburgh Steelers that Zeke took to the crib, 80 yards? Put fear in my eyes and my heart and everything. Oh, if I'm looking at the Cowboys now, ain't nobody scaring me. Dalton Schultz, I'm covering you man-to-man with my best cover linebacker. Zeke, no fear in my eyes. I'm covering you with any linebacker. Noah Brown, you've typically been a blocking receiver. Michael Gallup, you coming off an ACL injury. You better prove it to me. Jalen Tolbert, you played for South Alabama, not the University of Alabama. You got to prove it to me, too. CeeDee Lamb, okay, bet. I'm going to double you. You've already proven it to me. You put a little bit of fear in my eyes. Nobody from the Dallas Cowboys offense scares me as a defensive coordinator. That, to me, is the biggest deal.
I don't necessarily disagree with you, but they were number 1 in yardage.
It's a different roster last year.
I'm with Joy on that.
I've been saying this all season. Cowboys fans been in my mentions. It's the same roster. Nope. No, it's not.
Nope.
It's not. Sorry for that. Sorry for that impression of Cowboys fans. I'm going too far. Sorry, Mom. But it is not the same roster. Everyone was joking, oh, Cedric Wilson's gone. No big deal. Who cares about Cedric Wilson? I bet you they'd like to have Cedric Wilson now.
Preaching.
I bet you they're trying to make the money work with Amari Cooper now. Very quickly, your depth can change. It can your whole world can change once injuries start to happen.
Here's why. Let's talk schematics real quick. This is something that everybody can understand. Basic fundamentals of football. It's 11 on 11. But truly, it's 11 on 10 because you ain't got to guard the quarterback. It's simple as that. Defender has 1 extra person. Well, that 1 extra person is occupied by Amari Cooper. Hey, we're going to double you, which means CeeDee Lamb, you going one-on-one. It's time to eat. Dalton Schultz, you going one-on-one. It's time to eat. Oh, Amari, you gone? Safety, lean to CeeDee. Other safety, eyeball Dalton Schultz. Who gonna beat me? Who? Like who? CeeDee Lamb's not beating a double team. I don't think he's yet creative enough or tactful enough in his route running. He's speedy. He's a great route runner. He's not beating double teams. People who beat double teams, Antonio Brown in their prime. Julio Jones in his prime. Calvin Johnson, he'll beat a triple team. But CeeDee Lamb, he's not yet beating double teams. Dalton Schultz, you gonna beat a double team? So who? That's how you can see a number 1 offense slide to a number 10 offense in the blink of an eye. Keep in mind that number 1 offense still wasn't good enough to win a playoff game at home against the 49ers team that's battered.
Understood.
That's where I am worried for the Dallas Cowboys. But we'll see how it plays out. Dak Prescott.